Yeah, my inspiration for DJing was simple. I was a kid dancing at the raves in the 90s, and I loved the music. And then when I finally got a mixer and 2 techniques, I remember it distinctly. It was very, very clear, wow, I want to do this forever. This is really exciting. I was actually a real vinyl purist in the 90s, and CDJs, I'll never use CDJs. But then it was a matter of necessity. In the early 2000s, a lot of my vinyl house gigs disappeared. And instead of playing house music, I was offered a lot of gigs playing mixed forms, at bars and regular DJing. But I didn't have those records. But friends of mine had music collections, and they suggested, hey, if you got Final Scratch, you could use our music collections and start to play these other gigs. And I really, really didn't want to do it. I was like, no, I only want to play house music. I only want to play with vinyl. And out of necessity, I started using the software in 2001, 2002. But instead, I didn't want to use Final Scratch. I said, okay, if I'm going to give up turntables, I'm going to give up turntables completely, and I'm going to do this Traktor thing, because in Traktor you can loop and you can use effects and you can do key lock, which was the most interesting thing, because a lot of people wanted to hear hip hop, and I didn't want to play hip hop, but I had hip hop acapellas, and I knew, with Traktor's key lock, I could put hip hop acapellas over house music, and we could find a middle ground where they get what they want, some music that they recognize, and I get to play songs that I get to play. But the problem was there was only one way to control Traktor with MIDI controllers. And at that time there was only really one good portable MIDI controller on the market, and it was a little, your keyboards, little keyboards. So I would play gigs with a keyboard, and I'd go into the club and I'd bring 2 pieces of foam with me. Put one piece of foam on one turntable, the other on the other, laptop here. No, MIDI Man.
Okay, yeah.
MIDI Man, which became M Audio, the Oxygen 8. Silver one.
Black, but it's silver also,
yeah, no, it was silver. And so I'd have my little nerdy my little nerdy keyboard and my little nerdy laptop, and I'd mix on the mixer, and I remember people looking at me like, what the hell is he doing? Very connected to the Oxygen 8, actually. I was DJing with a keyboard, which was very responsive and playable. And I developed a style where I would sample parts of songs and really play musically. And then the first DJ controller came out, and it had these small, hard, really unmusical buttons that were kind of terrible. And I hated them. But the Japanese had made it in such a way that there was lots of space, and I could take the buttons out and hack in arcade buttons. So I did this very silly DIY hack where I put arcade buttons into this controller so that it played the way I was used to. So I could still be more musical and dynamic. And I put a video of that online and shared it with the world, and it, I guess, it got a lot of people excited. Yeah. This strange combination, because I was using like hip hop acapellas and chopping up songs, and there's arcade buttons, but I'm DJing, and it really captivated an audience who never thought, or were probably never really interested in DJing. Because DJing had been something that you did where you bought a whole bunch of records and you had all this equipment, but now maybe anyone could do it. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes, you get lost in technology for the sake of technology, but you always find your way back. And everything I've been sharing with you has been influenced or inspired, derived from the music first. Yeah. The buttons. I didn't think, I need better buttons. It was, I like sampling the songs on top of each other, and I need to be able to play fast. And I can't play fast with hard crappy buttons, so I need better buttons. And when then the world said, hey, we want those too. This is really interesting. We want those too. And so I began creating products for people that I knew I wanted, and other people said that they wanted too. First of all, I think people can use whatever technology they want and whatever method of playing suits them. Yeah. Some people love iTunes and
Spotify.
Playing music off Spotify. I was at a Berlin bar last night where somebody was DJing from Spotify, and it was like, it was good music, it was fine, didn't matter. It's like, oh, here's a good song. Oh, I'm gonna play this song. And in that context, that was the right tool. So I think for me, after I could beat match seamlessly with the pitch faders and after I had mastered the art of mixing, I wanted more challenges. And the digital platform is a whole universe of things to play with, which I think the biggest challenge for DJs is staying interested and excited, because when we're playing for people, our energy is very contagious. And if we're excited about the music we're playing or excited about what's happening, then it transmits to the audience. So I think the digital platform, if people want to use it, can be really, really a beautiful way to stay excited about the art of DJing. But then again, there's something very beautiful about curating a collection of records and playing with records. It's really direct and simple, and the focus is on one aspect of the art. In all things, we tend to repeat history. We tend to redo things that we've done before, and often if you want to find out what's going to happen, you might consider what has happened. Yeah. And now I've been doing this long enough, for 22 years, that I've seen a pattern kind of emerge, and it's possible that it might continue. And that pattern is where we swing from DJs focusing on music curation and playing, and really just playing the right music, which is really about serving the party. Like, you know, you see it where a lot of DJs more local DJs are getting booked, and they're really playing for the crowd. And then it swung over to artists, you know, really doing what they do and people coming to them for what they do. And these artists want to differentiate themselves, so they start to use tools to express themselves uniquely. So they begin to seek and look for ways, like digital technology, to I think sometime in the future, who knows when, we'll come back to a time when artists want to differentiate, they want to be individualistic, and so they'll start to use technology again to express themselves. What that looks like, I don't know, but right now we're in kind of a simple phase of DJing.